Hello, everyone. We are live with the Gamerhub Newscast for this week. I'm joined by my friend and co-host, Gladrius the Mighty. Been fighting people in outer space again. How you doing, buddy?
Apparently, you owe me an apology because you called me a killer clown for some reason.
Well, became that was because
I
you're
know we'll get into
apparently
that, but
friends
yeah.
with killer clowns from outer space or something like that. I don't
But what am I
know.
supposed to do? Not be friends with killer clowns from outer space? I mean, come on, you don't want them as enemies because they're
I
killer
guess.
clowns.
I guess so. Keep your friends close, keep your enemies
Yeah,
closer. I see what you're saying.
exactly. Anyway, we are discussing Gamescom this week. A lot of great reveals that came about. We're also talking about other news that's happening, including a potential rumor about EA being bought out and a potential price hike for the PlayStation 5. So, yeah, we have a lot on our plate this week. So, shall we just dive right into Gamescom then?
I think we should, yeah. And let's start. I want to start with Sonic Frontiers myself.
Yeah, me too.
Sonic Frontiers, the game looks so good. It looks by far, for me personally, it looks like the best Sonic game since the Sonic Adventure games. And I was really thrown back to that. I saw someone just saying, "Oh, it's just a copy of like the Sonic '06 game." I can't remember what that was called. Um,
Well, Sonic the Hedgehog. That's all it's
yeah,
called.
yeah, and I was just thinking, no, like, I mean, you could make that. It's just, it's just a 3D Sonic game. Like that. What do you expect? Them to use someone
Well,
different, like different
I
type of
think that
environments?
the thing you have to understand, this week's trailer kind of showed us that it is actually more like the traditional Sonic games we're used to now, like generations and colors, with kind of like 2D sections and 3D sections and exploratory sections. So it's not just, Sonic Frontiers of the Wild. There's actually some elements there that remind us it's still a Sonic game, but they're taking an interesting new step with the story in terms of how Amy is involved. Not to mention this
Yeah.
giant
What
new
is it? Is
juggernaut.
that Metal Amy? Is it or something? Like,
I think so, yeah. I think so.
I think it's an interesting way to go. Like, Amy was always a really annoying character for me, so like, it'd be good to have her as the enemy for once. Um,
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. And also, we have a release date. It's dropping on November 8th, which is just actually, I believe, just a day before God of War Ragnarok drops. So that's kind of gutsy, but by the same token, that means it's also a big holiday release. They're actually going all out for this, which I think is a really great move.
yeah.
This is a get it out there, and it's on other platforms too, Xbox, Nintendo Switch, PC, so it's definitely got more outreach.
And that's really, yeah, where it's gonna go. I mean, everyone on the PlayStation side, you would think, well, or anyone who's got multiple platform holders, multiple console or whatever owners, you're thinking they're going to be picking up God of War, unless there's either something wrong with you or you just don't like that game, which would mean there probably is something wrong with you. Um, but then, like, there's everyone who either only has an Xbox or has Xbox and Switch and doesn't have a PlayStation or have PC and Switch or whatever. They'll probably be picking up Sonic Frontiers, and it's been a while since there's been like a really really well received Blue Blur game, and I'm hoping that this is it. Like I love I've always loved Sonic since I was a kid. Like grew up with Sonic. Um, and I'm looking at this game, and I was just as I was watching the trailer for it, I was thinking like like it reminded me of playing Sonic Adventure on the Dreamcast. Um, and I like the way they've done. I like the mix between the 2D and the 3D. And the fact that yeah, I was like, what? Amy? Wait, hang on. Is Amy the bad, like the antagonist here? And I was like, oh, is that Metal Amy? Like, well, I mean, how do you
Yeah.
feel about that? Like,
Well, I mean, they're involving all sorts of elements. Like, there's a report that Big the Cat is back in this one too. So it sounds like it could be like channeling the next journey with the Sonic Adventure series, which is really cool, honestly. It'd be interesting to see how Knuckles gets involved, how Tails gets involved in all this. So yeah, I mean, the best is yet to come, I think. So yeah, I mean, these people that were skeptics about seeing the game before and kind of the gameplay that kind of turned them off. I mean, give it another chance, because you never know.
yeah, that's true. That's true. Well,
Mhm.
who's your favorite character in Sonic out of interest?
Knuckles. Sorry,
Knuckles.
Sonic, but Knuckles. Sorry.
That's fair enough.
Sorry,
Mine
Sonic.
isn't Sonic either, to be fair. My favorite character is Shadow. Um, just because Sonic Adventure, I think Sonic Adventure 2 was my favorite game ever, and Shadow, even though they gave him his own terrible spin-off game, Shadow was definitely the best character I've ever had in Sonic. Or
Yeah, I think it's just a matter of like you're probably excited about Sonic 3 then, aren't you? Since you like Shadow so much.
yeah, yeah.
But
um,
yeah, I think it's going to be a good game. I think we're in a thing right now where people are judging games before playing them or doing anything like that. And another small example of that, you see all these Saints Row reviews,
oh
that are
yeah, let's
that are
talk about that
picking
for a
on the
second,
game.
because that
Yeah,
game,
I mean, well, I
that,
mean, there's partial complaints. Look, the glitches I get. Some of these glitches are hilarious, but I believe Volition's working on a patch and all that. But I played some of it last night, and it's a lot of fun. I was blowing things up with a bazooka while riding on top of a car. I mean, what more do you want out of Saints Row? And then the thing that really gets under my skin, like everybody's picking on the characters because they think they're woke. I don't know what this woke business is, and I don't care. The fact of the matter is, I'm having fun with Saints Row. That should be what the goal is. Now, not is it going to be everybody's speed? No. Some people are waiting for Grand Theft Auto 6. Some people are waiting for Sonic Frontiers. And hey, congratulations, that's awesome. But you shouldn't bag on a game because of what its nature is or anything like that. You should just really just go and enjoy it. That's the bottom line.
yeah, yeah, no, I agree, I agree. Um, and also, I mean, I saw apart from like the I mean, I'm the same as you, Gladius. I'm playing it on Series X, but I don't see like I know I've seen the Digital Foundry video that they did in it, but aside from like I didn't myself, I was playing on the high detail at the 1080p. Just I wanted to I don't know. I mean I just thought but I hadn't seen the Digital Foundry video when I fired it up. But then I was just thinking I don't understand. Like, I didn't notice these performance issues myself without. I saw the pop in. The pop in was an issue, but that happens on loads of games still. And I'm thinking, oh god. I mean, it's irritating, but it's not like that big a deal. Like, but if there were performance issues, I can see that is a reason. That's a fair complaint. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's like the game's just not for you. Like, just don't bash it. Like,
Exactly.
um,
I mean, some games just aren't for you. But yeah, I mean, I've just seen like some of these notoriously like bad reviews, just like they don't like the nature of the characters, they don't like the nature of this, they don't have the nature of that. And I don't know. It's like there's some games I'm not crazy about either. I don't know if I want to spend another $70 on The Last of Us, even though this is the definitive edition, because apparently the last one wasn't definitive enough. But I mean, it's
that was quite funny. Sorry. Um,
yeah. So it's just it's like what you like. I think that's the thing. I think we should focus less on the negativity and people should just enjoy what they want to enjoy.
yeah,
That
yeah.
should be the end
Well,
of it.
that's it.
And, that doesn't mean you go and trash Sonic Frontiers before you play it.
Yeah, yeah.
That shouldn't be the case.
Well, there was a bit of that as well because there was people being like, "Oh, it's just a cut." Like they were saying, like, "Oh, it's just exact." There was a side-by-side clip I saw from on Twitter, of course, of someone saying, "Yeah, it's just exactly the same as Sonic the Hedgehog, like from 2006." You remember the one on the uh 360 and that time, and everyone's like, "Yeah, it's just Sonic the Hedgehog again." I was thinking, oh my god! I was like, well, look, how many Sonic games have you seen where it's in the Sonic universe, the Sonic world, isn't it? So like you think it's suddenly going to be like in outer space, like well, actually, even though there was that thing in Sonic Adventure 2 where they fought the thing in the outer space, um, but I'm getting besides the point. It's just people are just finding reasons to hate on something because their own they probably didn't like it in the first place. Do you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
just using they're just using their own. There's three different types of truths, right? There's an objective truth, which is just fact. These are the facts. Then there's personal truths and political truths, and people carry their own personal truths with things, and then just say, "Oh, this game is rubbish. It's terrible." It's like, no, no, no. You think it's terrible. It's not terrible. It's a good game, like for some people. Anyway, I
Man, we're,
digress.
we're, we're getting up a negative thing, but yeah, the bottom line is you should be able to like what you want to like. Some people aren't going to be crazy about this new Sonic Frontiers and want to play, Sonic Origins or Sonic Colors instead. Hey, that's up to you. But we already have like enough negative toxicity out there in communities, in all these decisions making and everything like that. So really, you don't want to add to that discussion. You want to talk about the love of the games.
You
But
do.
hey, people are gonna say what they want to say. They can do whatever they
Yeah, it's a mystery to me, to be honest with you. But hey ho.
want.
Anyway, speaking of mysteries, the upcoming game Pentiment,
Yes,
uh,
sir.
it's by Obsidian, a Josh Scheuer game.
Mhm.
I have seen um, or got the reactions from Jez Corden of Windows Central, who played the game at Gamescom,
Mhm.
and he was saying he was getting LA Noir vibes from it. And I mean, Gladius, you know this about me. I was already excited for Pentiment, and I love a good mystery, and like I just love the narrative of it, of things like that. And we are apparently he said he's getting LA Noir vibes from it, which is I think personally is great. How do you feel about that? Is that new?
I
Did
mean,
you have you see that or?
I wasn't entirely crazy about LA Noir, but I could definitely see those kind of elements in this story. But the thing that really stands out to me is the art style. Like when you think of Obsidian, you think of like, the Outer Worlds, you think of all these amazing 3D adventures that you normally play through, and this is really a nice little change of pace for them,
It
and
is,
it's
yeah.
going to be, and not to mention the fact it's going to be reasonably priced. It's going to be priced at $20, and it's going to be on Xbox Game Pass day one. So, everybody will be able to check this title out and just see how deep Obsidian's development is. Not to mention the fact, Grounded, that's going to be a full release next month. Breeze, will obviously go on for hours about it, and rightfully so. So yeah, I mean, these guys are all over the place with their amazing developments. But that's the thing, after we get Pentiment, I'm kind of hoping at the Game Awards we finally see something from the Outer Worlds too, and show us what they're really working on. Because this is just like a great game. Don't get me wrong, but it's a sidestep for what people want to see with Outer Worlds too, obviously.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But this will be a fun game. I think this looks really good, and having it on Xbox Game Pass doesn't hurt either.
That's true. Well, I mean, that's the thing is this is the sort of game that maybe wouldn't have uh it wouldn't have the numbers like in terms of sales units sold if it didn't have Game Pass, but Game Pass it allows developers to do these small sort of like well, passion projects, really, if you like, that are maybe more niche in terms of their art style or their narrative or their gameplay, even and things like that. Like, I mean, think about all these simulator games we're getting. Power Wash Simulator, for Christ's sake. We're getting all of this stuff, and Game Pass is really um, an enabler of creativity for developers, which is great.
Yeah, it's really great. I'm really liking the games that are lined up for it and everything. But we're also getting some genuine surprises from the show as well. I mean, we knew
Whoa!
about Pentiment before, but the one that I want to talk about, this
Go
is
on.
a game from NeoWiz Games called Lies of P. It is essentially what happens when Pinocchio runs headlong into Bloodborne.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys might have seen the trailer for this absolutely dramatic, absolutely stylish, absolutely ridiculous looking trailer. And, it looks like it's going to be a challenging, fun game with this great narrative. I mean, I hadn't heard about this till now. I thought I could have sworn somebody announced it beforehand, but I mean, this looks amazing. This looks like it could potentially be a game of the year. I don't know if it's coming later this year, or early next, or whatever, but wherever it lies, it's going to be a huge game. Because you know how
Um,
many people love this Elden Ring stuff. I mean, Elden Ring sold 16 million copies so far. There's a demand for games like this. As long
yeah.
as they have like an original touch, I think it's going to take off like a rocket. I mean, this is huge.
Yeah, yeah, and there's a whole like sort of reaction to the way you behave, isn't there, in the Lies of P, which is really cool, and it
Yeah,
changes the basically changes your gameplay experience, which is great. And you know what? Actually, I think it was one of the first like news pieces I ever wrote for Gamerhub. Was like it was like a YouTube trailer or something or not a YouTube trailer. It was just like an announcement of Lies of P, and it just had some cover art. And yeah, it looks so good. Like it's got a lot. It's got Souls likes are almost popular now, really, as maybe they've ever been, thanks to Elden Ring. So it's not, and it's sort of a really unique way of um, as a unique type of storyline, I guess. Um, and so they've really put their own sort of little spin on it. I think it's great. And yeah,
yeah. I
let's
mean,
move.
I think it's just great to see surprises like that. Like we got a new trailer for Atomic Heart as well. This
That
is
was
the new,
unexpected.
yeah, this is a new game that's coming from Mundfish. There's no release date yet. We're still reportedly quarter 4 2022, but I mean that could change. But I mean it looks like the next level of Bioshock, and it's coming from a good Russian studio. Mick Gordon's in charge of the music. But I mean I watched this trailer and it's absolutely balls out insane. It really is. You take on all these robots and everything with different weapons, and there's different ways you can liquefy them. You can do all this stuff, and it's a wild trailer.
Yeah,
Absolutely
I
nuts.
got kind of like you get Bioshock vibes from it, but there's also there's an element of oh god, what's that game by Machine Games? There's an element of
Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein, yeah, to
Yeah.
it, for me. I mean, yeah, it looks really good. That was a nice surprise, and it's nice to see. Um, I mean, I know it's never going to be E3, is it? Gamescom or those type of stuff like that time. But Gamescom, it's nice to get these announcements. And speaking of, like on the topic of Bioshock like things, there was actually another announcement about Bioshock that came out, wasn't there?
Yeah, it's regarding a Bioshock movie because I know we've been waiting for the longest time for some sort of announcement about Bioshock movie. Gore Verbinski was supposed to make one at one point, and it just didn't really happen. But now Netflix is making a movie about Bioshock. I believe it's Netflix, and they have brought on board Francis Lawrence. He is the director of Constantine and I Am Legend, and he is working on the film. Apparently, there's no word on a filming date yet, but he is handling directing. And on top of that, they also brought in Michael Green to write the script. Michael Green previously worked on Blade Runner 2049.
Ooh.
So you got a couple of heavy hitters here.
Yeah,
They're
absolutely. Yeah. Sounds like it's in good hands. And you know
yeah,
what? Like Netflix, I don't have so much the fear of like video game to TV show, um, or movie or whatnot that I have with others because they did such a good job with The Witcher. Um, so yeah, I
yeah.
do think that's actually quite exciting.
Not to mention
Really.
Castlevania. Remember what they
Of
also
course,
did with
and
Castlevania.
Castlevania. Yeah, 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 yeah. So they
So
seem to
yeah,
have
I got to
a
there.
good record, don't they?
Yeah, they really are. Speaking of movie licensed game, let's go with game. I mean, like a movie licensed game. Let's go back to because we had a game licensed movie. Now we get a movie licensed game. A new survival MMO for Dune, and not the '84 Dune with Sting and the swimming trunks. I mean the new Dune that came out. Dune Awakening is the name of it, and
Yeah.
it's currently being worked on for a 2023 release date. I mean, we just saw a cinematic and everything like that, but it's by the same developers that had Conan Exiles, Funcom,
Yeah,
and
that was good. That game.
yeah, so this should be very interesting to say the least. I mean, because I knew they were working on another Dune RTS or something like that. I don't know who's doing that one, but this looks a lot more vivid and a lot more within the
Yeah,
universe,
it
if you
does. Yeah,
will. So
yeah. Because I mean, remind me, what you play? It's an action adventure RPG, isn't it? Type thing or an action
something like
RPG.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe so. Yeah, it's like a survival MMO, but it's supposed to have those elements. So.
Mm. So I mean, that's what I meant. Yeah. But
Mhm.
I saw that trailer. That was when I was in that during that trailer is when I was interrupted rudely because that was on opening night live, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I was rudely interrupted at that point, which is slightly frustrating. So I do need to go back and properly watch that. But I remember thinking, oh, that's awesome. But I do also think like they're like aiming for 2023. That game is never, ever, ever, ever coming out in 2023. And if it is, I will eat this can that used to contain my beer.
You're gonna eat the can?
Yeah, yeah, and this is like the internet is my witness for it. So if that comes out in 2023, I will eat this can.
Okay, and fair enough. We will have a live video of you eating the can. So this will
Yes.
be interesting, to say the least.
Yeah,
You got to keep a promise. Well, if you
well,
don't
yeah.
eat the can, you can.
If I don't eat the
We don't.
can, then
We don't want to
I have
poison
zero
you.
credibility.
Well, why don't you do something like you'll crush the can into your head? Something a little more reasonable that won't send you to the hospital. How about that?
Okay, okay, hang on a moment.
There you go.
I will eat. I've got like these pair
Spinach.
of
You
like
will eat spinach covered in ghost pepper sauce. How about that?
Okay, yeah, all right, okay. I will eat spinach covered in ghost pepper sauce. Is that chili?
God, he's gonna go back to the hospital.
I'll still be in the hospital, but it will be
Yeah.
something that I'll be able to survive
Look,
rather than
look,
having
we'll
my
just let's just
insides
see what
shredded.
happens because you were like begging Starfield to come out, and now it's not coming out till like 3000. So we'll
Yeah,
just wait on that. Okay?
you had to go there, didn't
Sorry,
you?
but let's talk about another exclusive that was also revealed at the show: Atlas Fallen. This is from Focus Entertainment and Deck 13, an action RPG set in a fantasy world. Tell me you
uh,
watched this trailer.
I'm fairly certain I did. Yeah, hang on a moment. Yes, Atlas Fallen, I did. Yeah, it's a fantasy game, isn't it? Um, and yeah, I get it. So you glide the sands of timeless land filled with ancient dangers and
Yeah,
treasures,
it's
fragments of the
it's
past.
semi-open world adventure with two different characters in it, traversal mechanics, deadly and dangerous monsters. I mean, it's
Mm.
just another fantastic fantasy game, and it
It
looks really
does.
good.
I remember that. I think it might have been one of our colleagues, Joe, and I think I saw them post something like in I can't remember where it was. I think it was maybe on Facebook or something, but posted like it's basically like comparing it to Avatar, and Avatar the cartoon.
Right,
And I just remember thinking, I've watched the trailer and I was thinking, I mean, I see what you mean, but I don't really think it's the right comparison here. Obviously, it wasn't them who did it, who thought about it. It was an article that had been found somewhere by someone, and I just remember thinking, I'm not sure if I agree. Like, wasn't this like, I mean, because you use the sand, yeah, don't you, or as one of your powers, like sand
right.
powers, powered abilities. But in Avatar, you use like all the different elements, like the fire, the air, the water, and stuff. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, the game looks sick. When did it say it was coming out?
I believe that one's 2023.
2023. I mean, I'd love it if it did, but if all these games that have released are meant to be releasing in 2023, plus the ones that we've had pushed back already, 2023 is going to be the most stacked year for games in the history of gaming, I think. And calling a game of the year would is nigh on impossible at this point. It's because I mean it's Starfield as long as it releases, but it's still impossible at this moment.
Yeah, but there are still some games coming in 2022 that are going to get your attention. And boy, oh boy,
Oh
since
no.
I'm a nostalgia nerd, and since I grew up in the 80s, and like some youngins on this show, uh, yeah, I remember a game movie in 1988 called Killer Clowns from Outer Space by the Chiodo brothers. And I'm happy to announce that one of the executive producers from Friday the 13th, the game, I believe it's Randy Greenback, is working on Killer Clowns from Outer Space, the game, which is currently in closed beta, I believe, and coming out later this year. It is a multiplayer game, 7 versus 3, but you get to play as a killer clowns. You get to use their abilities. You get to be a survivor fighting against them.
Is this
And
like
based
Dead
on
by
the
Daylight but with clowns?
something like that, but with clowns. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
but obviously a little more fun. They're trying to
of
match the
course.
atmosphere and the mood of the 80s film. So I'm still trying to get details on this, but it looks like a lot of fun based on the little gameplay I've seen so far. So, yes, I'm all for it, and I can't wait for They Live the game to follow. I don't know. I'm just shooting out ideas there because we got a bunch of 80s movies. Alligator, give me Alligator the game, please. And thank you. Yes. I'm just saying it's great to see the Killer Clowns back. It was a genuine surprise. Like you kind of expect like different horror franchises like Predator, Friday the 13th, maybe even Halloween to pop up in video games. You do not expect the Killer Clowns from outer space.
I agree with you there. I agree. But it's a nice surprise. Like I said, a nice surprise, isn't it? Um,
Yeah, it is.
but yeah. Speaking of surprises, though, there was another surprise there, like a world premiere for it's
Or
the developer of uh, the game is called Everywhere. Sorry,
mm,
and it's the developer is Builder Rocket Boy. Um,
I believe so. Yeah.
and so this game, there was, I mean, I think the idea looks really, really cool. But basically, long story short, to describe it, it kind of seems a bit sort of roadblocksy in a sense, but sort of it's a bit of a metaverse game type where you can sort of create these worlds within a world type thing.
Well,
And
it does have on their team there. They have a former Grand Theft Auto producer, Leslie Benzies.
yeah, yeah,
So obviously they understand what's supposed to go into an open world,
they
which is
certainly do.
really
Yeah,
cool.
they do. And I mean, I watched the trailer, and I apart from being, I mean, I don't still don't really know what it is, but conceptually it sounds really really cool. I
Mhm.
think it's probably a while out, but there was a lot of the reason I wanted to discuss it in particular is because there's been a fair bit of like outcry. I remember seeing something by someone on IGN saying, "Oh, be careful! It seems like an NFT game and stuff like that." And I was just thought, I just hate this. I'm sorry. I know. I mean, they actually respond. I'm personally sort of against the whole sort of blind hatred that people have towards it. Don't get me wrong. The criticism of current implementations is completely valid. And the developer actually came out and addressed this to obviously stop it snowballing into something that could potentially destroy the game before it's even started.
Yeah,
Um,
well, you know how these people are. I mean, NFTs. A lot of people think they don't have any place in gaming, and I'm kind of in agreement. They just seem kind of unnecessary. Ubisoft is like, "Oh, you'll love them," and Square Enix is like, "Oh, you'll love them." People like, "Can we just have a new game, please? Thank you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Where's my game?" That
That
sort of deal.
that being said, though, I mean, like, just because a game is built in Web3 or something, or has some kind of blockchain use, does not mean it's an NFT game and it's all about NFTs. I'm sorry. It's
Right?
like you know what? Like, be wary of them, like and stuff like that. And do a bit of research so you know kind of what they actually are and stuff. But don't uh, and yes, current implementation of NFTs and stuff, you're not going to use them to buy, to hold, and um, yeah, and then maybe and then resell and stuff like that you would in global financial markets. If a game is a game, like then judge it by the game. Don't like just
Yep.
think, oh, it's an NFT game, blah blah blah. Like, come on,
Yeah. Well,
give these
again,
things a chance. Like, either understand what what an NFT is and or Web3 is or the metaverse and blockchain and everything like that. Don't just come out and be like, oh yeah, we just don't want crypto, because I get that. I don't want a game that's just fucking trading NFTs or crypto and stuff like that. I'll do
right,
that
right.
in
I
my
get.
own time.
Right.
um,
Well, here's the thing. Here's the thing that I was talking about. It's like a lot of people complain about anything. Like some people were complaining about the Splatoon 3 Splatfest because, oh, it's too much like Splatoon 2. I'm like, well, it's a sequel.
it's a Splatoon game. Yeah, what
You
do you
know,
expect?
Splatoon game. What did you want? Bioshock? That's not how this works. Not any of this works.
Yeah.
Some people are just a little too familiar with certain formats and they're worried that you. But that's the thing. Here's the thing. You walk a thin line there, right? You make
Yeah.
enough changes to a sequel to keep people pleased, but if you change too
Too
much,
much.
they
Yeah,
get
yeah.
bitchy.
Halo,
Let's hunker
perfect
back in time.
example.
Oh, Metroid Prime. Do you remember when
Okay.
Metroid Prime was announced and people were upset that Metroid was going into 3D and they didn't want it and they hated it right off the bat? And
I
then the
do
game
remember.
came out. The
I
game
remember
came
it
out
was
and it
perfect
blew
for
the
me though.
doors off. Yeah,
Yeah.
the game blew the doors off anybody's expectations and it was great and it led to a trilogy that people now want on the Nintendo Switch. That is a prime example of people complaining about something well before they have all the details.
That's true. Yeah.
So,
Yeah, yeah.
with that, people,
And
please keep in mind they're
yeah.
not building something where it's primarily built on NFTs or cryptos. If it was, they would have announced probably some sort of NFT partner or crypto partner or weirdo partner from some NFT factory in
Mm. Well,
Bismarck.
the speculation came from job listings, and they addressed it. They said these are research positions, as we do not like
Yep.
dismissing new technologies only because others haven't found a solution for them yet. Which is fair enough, because there isn't really a decent enough solution in them yet that exists in a current game. We're building everywhere on Unreal Engine 5, not the blockchain. We're creating a new world for players where we come together to play, watch, create, share, and so much more.
Yep.
And I think that's it, really. So I think, people need to, apart from like, don't judge something just because there hasn't been a decent implementation of it yet, because there will be at some point because there's a decent technology. Anyway, that
Yeah. I
aside,
mean, the bottom line is that maybe you should have all the facts on the table before you make a judgment.
100%.
Just saying. They did not announce it as an NFT project. I mean, it could be just speculation. Like I said, research. That's the thing. People just need to relax a little. The game hasn't come out yet, won't come out for some time. So breathe easy, count to 10, play some Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection or something when it drops next Tuesday, and just
Hells yeah.
relax. Just relax and everything like that. Sometimes you just need to relax with certain things and not worry about so much. Like say Xbox's Phil Spencer, who earlier this week said, as great as it is that Xbox and Sony are picking up all these studios and everything like that, he sees less and less exclusives coming out in the years ahead. And he has, kind of a point. Some exclusives are good, but, also you want multiple platforms because the more platforms your game is on, the more money you'll make. And if you need an example of that, Spider-Man Remastered came out on Steam, last week after 4 years on the PS4 and
Mm-hmm.
last year on PS5. And it's the top selling game on Steam right now.
Yeah.
It's an indication that you don't necessarily need an exclusive to succeed. It would not surprise me if God of War Ragnarok came out next year for Steam and outsold the PS5 version. It's a possibility because that has a more widespread audience. So I think Spencer's got a point. Are some exclusives nice? Sure. But people want accessibility. People want a game on more platforms. That's why Spencer made it clear that when they bought Activision Blizzard, which we'll get to in a moment, by the way, because that's kind of the main focus of the story. He said, no, we're not just making Call of Duty Xbox exclusive. That's stupid because it'll sell really well across Xbox, PlayStation, PC, and whenever it happens, Nintendo Switch. It
Yeah.
just makes sense.
Of course.
But yeah, so anyway, that's just part of what Phil Spencer said.
Yeah.
But on top of that, there is progress with the Activision deal approval. Why don't you discuss this a little bit?
Yeah. So basically, the deal is progressing well with regulators. Phil Spencer's very happy with it, and I mean, it seems like it's going to go through. He says, "I've never done a 70 billion. This is the interview with Emily Chang and Donna Bass of Bloomberg that Phil Spencer gave. He said, "I've never done a $70 billion deal, so I don't know what my confidence means." Spencer said, "I will say the discussions we've been having seem positive." So the fact that Phil Spencer, as CEO of Microsoft, of gaming at Microsoft, is got to be really careful. And if he comes out and is coy about it and stuff, well then you've got to think, oh, maybe he's nervous about it. But if coming out and saying he's confident, Microsoft seemed pretty confident this deal's going to go through. Um, and it's a massive massive deal.
It is,
If
and
it
it
does go
also
through.
opens up what Xbox is trying to do. Because
Mm,
like they have their Series S and their Series X and their best-selling platforms, they are. But Xbox wants to make their future about Game Pass and accessibility to their games, like you have
yeah,
on PC, like you have on tablets and everything like that.
yeah.
Purchasing Activision Blizzard opens up that catalog and
Mm,
also opens up Microsoft more on the third-party publishing front, as it's doing with Bethesda. it,
of
it
course, yeah.
really just opens up all these possibilities. People are saying, "Oh, they're usurping this big player." Well, everybody's usurping everybody. So, I mean, I'm probably gonna get acquired by the end of the show by somebody for $17. So I don't know. It's a bit
The
ridiculous.
question is what
Breeze
job
has
you're
put in the
performing.
opening. Breeze has put in the opening bid for $18.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'm kidding. I love Breeze. But the fact of the matter is, this is a deal in which can open up all sorts of possibilities for Microsoft. And Sony is part of that plan, just like Nintendo is part of that plan. You see how many Xbox properties are, kind of migrating over to Switch between like, Cuphead and Ori, even though I think they're more like indie side. So we won't see like Halo on Switch. But you get my point. They're trying to flex their muscles in terms of like games that they can offer to everyone, which
Yeah.
is
Well, I also
totally
think
also
that
the basis of the
I
Game
mean,
Pass.
this is it kind of also indicates that they're thinking, hey Sony, if you
Really?
you have Game Pass on PlayStation, we'll let you have our games. You know, there's a degree of that. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, here's one thing. Call of Duty, it's mostly, its community. It's is an online game, isn't it? It's like it thrives on massive player bases. Same with a lot of Blizzard games, what World of Warcraft, Diablo, all of these things. They're multiplayer online games. Like, they do well because they've got massive player bases and things. So to to take these games away from other platforms would be really, really silly. But I think if you've got to
Yeah.
look at what Mike's it's so interesting when you read what Phil Spencer says or listen to what he says, because even though he maybe doesn't is generally quite vague. If you read and listen to the Xbox strategy, they want to hit. It's actually quite obvious. You can piece together quite easily what they're thinking. Like for Xbox's strategy is in the cloud. So game streaming. It's in um, oh god, I just had a complete mind blank. Sorry. Yeah, where the where the strategy's going. It's in the cloud. It's in accessibility. It's in low barrier to entry and Game Pass. So they they do. He sees console exclusives going away because ultimately the console market, they want to hit billions of gamers, and the console market is such a small market for what they want to hit. So, and don't forget, everyone, like people will say, oh yeah, Microsoft, when they want to go third party as a third party publisher, the Xbox is never going to go away because the Xbox hardware forms the xCloud server. Like
Yep.
Xbox console hardware is what is lined up in server racks in Azure data centers around the world. So that theory is also that I did actually see someone saying, "Oh, Microsoft is going to go third party here," and it's like, well, they're not really truly going to, are they? And they put and the fact that they're manufacturing these this into its like server racks, like it's putting Xbox hardware in there, so they will probably still produce the console for that market because it's still a profitable enough market, even though it just won't be their biggest one. Um, so yeah. Anyway,
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting because there are other factors to consider when it comes to Xbox success, and I think they're going to have a very interesting holiday season because Sony revealed this week that
yeah.
they are hiking up the price of the PlayStation 5 in several overseas markets. This includes Canada, this includes the UK, Europe, and apparently it's going to be up like $50.
Yeah, it's going up like everywhere except in the United States, as I heard.
Yeah. Well, because of the availability thing, I'm guessing. I don't know. But yeah, Sony basically said it's just due to like the world of economy or the world economy because like right now, inflation's a pain in the ass everywhere, right? So I
It
guess
is.
in an effort to try to keep up with chip costs and whatever, they have to hike the price. But that's the thing, it's like Microsoft they didn't retaliate, they responded. They said, "Well, we're not going to raise our prices," and Nintendo said, "Well, we're not going to raise our prices."
Yeah.
So it's really going to be an interesting question of how this affects Sony of the holiday season. Not to mention the fact that the big exclusive Sony has is just God of War Ragnarok. So,
Yeah, one more than Xbox arguably, but in terms of AAA
yeah,
for first party. But what I would say about it though is that I personally don't think I think this is third strike for so I mean obviously third strike, it's not third strike you're out type thing for Sony, but
yeah,
this is
right.
third strike. It's like, okay, you guys have this is your third sort of slightly slimy thing that you're doing here now, and I think people need to start calling them out a little bit on it because they are market leader, and market leaders, as we've seen countless times over the years, take advantage of it and take advantage of consumers and stuff and their position as market leader to do slimy things, and it's not good. And we need to call people out on that to bring them back down to earth and make them start doing decent stuff again for us. Like
I mean,
even
I just,
I'm actually writing a piece on it right at the moment. I'm nearly finished. Well, I say not right this moment, but I'm in the process
I,
of working on it. Go on, what were you
I'm,
saying?
I'm just like, well, if Sony's really running out of money, then why did they pay $3.6 billion for Bungie?
Yeah, they're not running out of money. That it's just look. Okay, inflation's hitting. It's shameless corporate greed, is what it is. Like this isn't the only thing that. Don't forget, Sony only recently raised the prices of games to $70.
Right.
Something again that actually neither Nintendo or Xbox have done yet. Like they're like some of the only publishers to not. Um, they like Sony are leading the not leading, but they are up there at the moment with the shady business operations. Wasn't it? Oh God, hang on. If you bear with me for just a second, I will just. It all started like a little. a little while ago. Ah, that was it. It all started when they were like this whole "we believe in generations" thing, and I get it that they had to backpedal. Actually, it's pretty reasonable to say they had to backpedal because the chip shortage, so they didn't weren't able to get the amount of units out there that they wanted to and stuff like that. But then they went on and raised the prices of games to $70. Do you know what I mean? And
I
now
do.
and now this, and it's just like, you know what? However tight money is for you know, oh, it might affect their profits and stuff like that. You know who it's affecting more, like the everyday consumer or like, on the
Well,
streets and stuff. Like I say on
I
the
mean,
streets.
look at it like this. Look at it like this. The PlayStation 5 is extremely tough to find right now, as it is right now, unless you pay top dollar to a scalper or somebody on Craigslist or somebody on eBay. You know what I mean? So the thing is, it's already enough of a struggle, but now you're going to increase the price
Yeah,
on
well
something
that's the
that
other
you
thing,
can
Gladrius.
barely
Like it's
find.
gonna use the recommended retail price is going up. The scalping price is going to go up too. Like
Okay.
Sony are bending bending its customers over and rogering them straight in the rectum. Um,
Wow. That's a bumper sticker quote.
that is
Rogering them straight in the rectum.
how very British of me. Yeah, I just
That's your
I didn't want to say
that's
I
your
didn't
new
want to be
Xbox
too
name.
explicit.
I think we discovered your new Xbox game. Roger me in the right. You'll get banned in like 5 minutes.
No, no. Look, on
Boy.
a serious note, look. I mean, look.
Yeah.
They've got a they're being buoyed by their compelling lineup of games at the moment. They do. I do think we like people. Well, let's hope that the money speaks for itself, and like they don't do as well as they want to, and then they're like, okay, yeah, we're gonna change this back, because actually, ultimately, there's no need to have like outrage of people moaning about Sony, or because it's annoying when it happens to Sony and it's annoying when it happens to Xbox and stuff like that. If it's just mindless moaning about just for fanboy
Yeah.
reasonings, we all hate like the
Yeah.
console wars and stuff. But actually, this is something that I do hope they fix. So people like, I mean, don't complain about it if you're that upset with it. Vote with your wallet, unless unlike us, who already
Yeah. I
have
mean,
all this, who have the systems. It's like,
if anything, this is going to increase sales of the PS4
yeah,
because
well, they did
God of
say
War
that's the other
Ragnarok
thing,
will
haven't
work on the
they?
PS4. Right.
That's the other thing though. They went. This is one of the things that came out of the backpedaling. They were like, yeah, well, we're gonna continue to support the PS4 for a bit longer, backpedaling on their whole "we believe in generations" narrative. Um, but it is what it is. Like really, I get that. You have. There's a chip shortage, right? They
Right.
want to. If there's only a certain amount of PlayStations out there, the attach rate won't. These games like they make the real money is made on the sale of the games, isn't it? Right? Or the software and services, yeah,
Right.
as opposed to console units sold, which they are. I mean, they are apparently making a profit on already, but now like that maybe that profit was going to go away or something with inflation, so they were like, okay, we're going to raise the prices.
I don't get it. I mean, but here's the thing. I think that Xbox and Nintendo will totally thrive from it. You know, Nintendo's already said they're going to have Switches available. I mean, next year might be troublesome with the chip shortage and all that, but this holiday season there'll be plenty of Switches. I'm sure you can probably find one at a pawn shop or whatever if you really, really, really don't want to wait. You know, and then Xbox, they may have a ship thing too, but they are working on trying to get more Series S's and X's out there for their game lineup. So I think it's going to benefit them more. And then Sony's going to take a close look and really ask what it wants to do with the PlayStation 5. I do like the system. I do like the games. I do like some of the studios. I like what they're doing with these games and everything. But Sony just really needs to settle down and figure out what it wants. I mean, it took Sony forever to come up with a viable competitor for Game Pass. And even then, they couldn't compare it to Game Pass because
Well,
some people aren't really subscribing to it like others do. So
well, I
they
mean
are
that's
playing
the
catch up
thing is
there.
that's the other thing as well though, Gladrius. Like PlayStation Plus, it's Xbox Game Pass didn't start to really take off until they were like day one exclusives in there.
Yep.
Sorry, first party games day one in Game Pass, and then like
Right.
obviously third party day one in there as well. That's when that's what changed the fortune. Sony aren't doing that yet. They're double dipping. They want people to buy the game and then subscribe and then have the subscribers for it as well. Like it's all kinds of like shady. It's like if they want to focus, it's because you know what it is. It's because they are not their strategy. They haven't settled on. They're stuck between this old strategy of like game sales and stuff like that to the sort of where Microsoft they're fully focused on the subscriptions, like the Game Pass strategy, basically. And so they're not really competing on it. They're not doing what they need. They've got PS Plus out there because they know they kind of have to have it eventually, because that's the way it's going to go. Like Microsoft will eventually like dwarf them if it, because it's like you say, it's mass market accessibility and stuff to the game. So
Well,
many more people will play these games. So
mhm.
Microsoft will just eclipse them eventually if they don't compete in that way. But they haven't started doing it yet, and because they said that in um remember Sony, they complained with the whole Brazilian regulator thing. They came out and they complained that it would represent a tipping point for Game Pass where we would never be able to sort of compete or catch up or compete. And Microsoft came back and said, well, you're not really competing with us. Like, I mean, we're all of our stuff is going in there sort of day one, or like our first party. We're getting all these like first party games, or not first party games. We're getting all these third party games coming in here day one and stuff like that. This is, you're not really competing. You're not doing any of that. You're putting games in there like a year after they come out,
Yeah.
around the same time they come. They come. They're not. It's not. They're not doing what
It,
Microsoft did to grow it, basically. So the Microsoft like,
yeah.
you're not really competing with us on it.
It's
Um,
just a weird reversal of fortune sort of deal. Like Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 came out, Xbox ruled. Now then we have PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. PlayStation 4 took the lead back. Now we have PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. But I mean, they're kind of neck and neck. But Sony's making these moves that make me wonder if Microsoft's going to take the lead again.
I hope not, because if there's one thing that's been proven is that we've seen, think about it, happened with Xbox and the 360, it happened with PlayStation, with the PS3, and now maybe a little bit now as well. And it's like, if one of these companies gets too much of a lead, they become arrogant and they start doing shitty things to the consumer, and it
Yeah.
just sucks, and it's just not good for anyone, really. Like, and people who blindly defend these things, it's like, go and find a sports team if you want to blindly support something, like with
Yeah.
through
I
pain
have
or pleasure.
$18 lying
Go and
around.
follow a
I have eight.
football team, like, or a soccer
Right.
team or whatever.
I got $18 lying around. I'll buy the Cowboys. They're sorry, Dallas, but yeah.
Dude,
But I mean,
I
it's
don't like the
this.
Cowboys. I do not like them.
But it's kind of interesting how the industry is going, like with all these acquisitions of studios by Sony. But there is another acquisition rumor that I want to discuss right now because this popped up this morning on our news feeds, and we need to talk about it a little bit. Amazon is reportedly in the hunt to acquire Electronic Arts. Now, CNBC has come back and said, well, this is bullhunk or everything like that. This is not happening, at least not today. But it does bring up an interesting question. Like EA has talked about in the past how they were open to acquisition,
Yeah.
sort of like how Ubisoft kind of hinted at it in the past as well. I don't know what's happening with them, Skull and Bones, whatever. But the fact of the matter is, EA has been a lot more open about it. And at first, I thought Sony might be interested because they wanted to counter, Xbox and the
Activision
pickup
Blizzard,
of
yeah.
Activision Blizzard. Right. But now we have Amazon who are itching to get back into games because apparently, like Amazon's been struggling for the longest time to find that certain hit. I think they just had the MMO that's been better, but still kind of, questionable. And they've been trying to find that niche to get back into the gaming scene. And maybe a big acquisition would do the trick. Having EA games in their fold would not only be good for their, Prime service and their Luna service, but also, making them a more viable publisher with games that would stand out. But I mean, that's the thing. It's like, are they the ideal acquisition? Because I'm thinking Disney myself. And don't get me wrong, I'm not wearing mouse ears. I'm not saying, everything Marvel, although I do like She-Hulk. But I'm just saying having a game publisher in your fold is not the worst thing in the world. Disney tried their hand at gaming several years ago. Disney Infinity, Split Second, Pure, these great games. But then they like fizzled out, and now they occasionally release like these classic games like Zombies Ate My Neighbors and all that stuff, pairing up with Capcom for the Disney Afternoon Collection. But I think if Disney picked up Electronic Arts, they would have a viable publisher that not only understands Star Wars games, but could also do something with Marvel games and also work on Disney's properties as well. I mean, I just think that sounds like a better fit than Amazon because Amazon, the thing is, I'm not crazy about this Lord of the Rings series they're doing. It just doesn't look right to me. I'm not going to be one of those people that has a torch and saying burn it down, but it just doesn't
Yeah.
look right.
I'm still
Something's
gonna
off
watch
about it.
it. Yeah, I
I
agree with
still
you. I
too.
agree
I'll
with you. I'm
watch it
still
too.
gonna watch
I'll
it,
give it a
but
fair
you know,
chance.
reserve judgment. Like,
Yeah,
but yeah,
I'm not going to be one of
I
these
agree with you.
YouTubers that goes like burn it to the ground. I'm going to watch it. I will watch it, but just something seems off compared to like what Peter Jackson did. Like Amazon didn't even call Peter Jackson. I'm like, what? What? You need to call
Yeah.
Peter Jackson. But you see what I mean? It's like Amazon may have the money, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have the know-how. But
Yeah.
meanwhile, you got Disney, who's been doing excellent things with Marvel. They're starting to do excellent things with Star Wars when it comes to TV shows. And they made a ton of money off the last trilogy, although they really need like new movie material. Anyway, getting off on that topic. But I'm just saying, I think if Disney acquired EA, it would be a better fit because, then they could have a better, a lineup of studios to work on their properties. I think Disney would have a better viable use of those properties. Sports franchises. They have ESPN, right? Integrate ESPN into Madden, into whatever their soccer game series is now, like Football Club or whatever it's called. I
Yeah.
forgot. But
Well,
you get
actually,
my point. I mean, there's just little things you can add in there. I think Disney would be a better fit. But anyway, go
I
ahead.
do get your point. I do get your point with this, but
Right?
to rebuttal slightly, Disney don't have a gaming. They don't have. I
No, I
suppose
know they
buying
don't.
buying. I suppose yeah. Okay. No, sorry. Ignore what I was saying because it was just
Okay.
being
I can't
stupid.
ignore what you're saying. You're speaking.
No, no, no. You know what?
But
Okay,
I
no,
get
but
what you're saying.
I was thinking something, and I just thought, okay, yeah, but EA don't. Yeah, okay, I get what you mean. Yes, they could use the studios at EA, and which they have some fantastic. I mean, BioWare. Do you know what I mean? To say the least,
Yeah,
they've got some.
BioWare could make an amazing star. Imagine if like BioWare was able to revive Star Wars 1313.
Uh,
Right? Thank
I
you,
know,
please, and
I
thank
know,
you.
I know,
Take all
and
my money.
I think I actually think as well if EA got because EA is like it's a bit of a they've been over the years they've made some terrible decisions,
Oh, don't
haven't
even get
they?
me started on
But
Visceral.
and it
Oh
yeah Visceral
God.
yeah, but they've and it's because like just it's run so corporately and so it's not
Yeah.
like
Well, we
I
are
actually
seeing some
think
changes. I mean,
Disney
go
seem
ahead.
to be giving things I think you're right actually Disney they do seem to be giving things a chance like
Yeah.
they're putting money into things and trying new things and like they've it's actually it's letting people create and tell the stories they want to tell with their IP and stuff and yes you're right they are the long story cut short sorry Gladius because I'm going on to a ramble
You're
here
fine. You're
is
fine.
is
This
that
is a podcast. Ramble
yeah
away.
yeah is that it's I think you're right I think Disney could be a good one. I don't have a problem as such with Amazon. Like their games, those two, is it New World or something? Like
Something like that.
they
Yeah,
were
it
well
was popular for a
received.
while, but on
Yeah.
PC, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like if Amazon got a hold of somebody that would publish on consoles, they'd have to come up with a new strategy, make sure things are balanced out. And EA
Well,
brings that
but it actually
experience,
feeds
but
into that, into what Phil Spencer says about that console exclusivity going away. Imagine, like, on your
yeah,
Xbox, your PlayStation, you have a Lunar app, like all the controls, like they are all done like nowadays in a way that it's like,
yeah.
so A is X, and that, do you know what I mean? It's all the same button, like,
Yeah, I mean, I think when it comes down to is like, Disney is a corporate company like Apple, like Amazon, but I think Disney has the understanding of what it can do with the game studio and its properties. Whereas if it's somebody like Apple, they're going to find a way to integrate EA services while releasing EA games, and it just won't feel right. I think if anybody should acquire EA, if it's not going to be Sony, obviously, because they're trying to save money, I suppose. But,
the thing is, if Sony did
gotta be
buy
Disney.
EA, you're looking at exclusive Maddens, FIFAs, like, do
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You
Mhm.
that's I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if they don't and they continue to do them, but you potentially are looking at that because they did say obviously they're going to keep Destiny as a multi-plat, but
Yep.
I mean, it's you are potentially locking all those. I mean, although what's good about the Xbox and Activision Blizzard is that they're going to keep they've pledged to keep those multi-platform, and I do think that they will. If Sony made a move like that, you would think that they would, but you just don't know with Sony. That's the I mean, I don't really care anyway because I just play it on a PlayStation. But at the same time, it's just like it would be I don't think they'd do it. I'm thinking about it now. The more I think about it, I think they would keep it multi-platform. It just makes so much more sense financially, and especially if the purse strings are tight at the moment.
And I think that's why like nothing's being finalized like super quick. I think maybe EA is looking at their options. Amazon has a ton of cash, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're the right fit. I do hope EA takes the time to figure this out because Disney is as conglomerate as some people see them, they are smart. Disney is the reason Star Wars Battlefront 2 did not have loot boxes. Like, think about it. The day before the game was supposed to come out several years ago, EA had loot boxes piled up, and fans were getting furious because they thought they were going to have to spend money like they did in FIFA, like they did in NBA 2K, which is completely different, but you get my point. And I think Disney stepped in and be like, hey, this is a Star Wars property. We really have to question this. And I think the EA just pulled the panic button and be like, okay, it's not going to have loot boxes. I think
Yeah.
Disney kind of understands they know what makes money and everything. So I think I'd hate to say put Disney in control. I say EA keep control, but Disney just be right there, be like, hey, you need to treat this property this way. No microtransactions, no this, no
Yeah.
that.
Well,
It'll
no,
make money its own.
Disney did that because I think when they did that, if you remember, it was just not that long before the Star Wars movie was going to come out, and they didn't want it
Yep,
affecting their bottom line for that. And so they were
exactly.
like, "Yo, you can't be putting our IP through this kind of turmoil." Well, they probably didn't say "yo,"
And I think that was also
but
another reason why, to make good, EA did Jedi Fallen Order alongside Respawn Entertainment, a single player game
yeah,
with no multiplayer gimmicks and no microtransactions. And what happened? It turned into a huge hit. And we're going to have Survivor early next year, which is going to be great. I think EA just wanted to make good with the fans again, and they're starting to get back to that groove. They're still corporate-ish. They can't make a deal with FIFA. FIFA's like the biggest soccer company in the world, but no, we'll call it EA Football Club. Why not?
well,
But
the thing is though about FIFA is that they wanted some. I like honestly, I heard the figure, and they wanted like 4 times the amount that they last paid for the exclusive licensing on FIFA, or on FIFA. So I get it. That I actually do understand that from EA's point of view, like,
right,
um, because
but it
otherwise,
was
like, where do you think that bottom line's going to be recouped from? From more sleazy, stupid sort of microtransactions and Ultimate Team, or
yeah.
anyway?
It makes sense. It does. But I mean, they are doing some things right. They're doing a new skate, which looks like it's going to be fun. And, it is free to play, so it will have microtransactions, but people will still be able to get the gist of what it's about. They're doing Survivor. They're doing the Dead Space revival, which looks phenomenal
Oh,
and
it
will
does,
likely
doesn't
be bloody AF. Just saying.
it?
So yeah, I mean, there's some stuff they're doing right, but I think pairing them with Disney would be better than Amazon. I don't know if any good will come from
Okay, here's a
Amazon.
curveball for you then. If it's not
Yeah,
Disney and it's not Amazon either, who else? Do you think Sony?
Sony. Sony or what? Nintendo hasn't acquired them in a while. But then again, Nintendo doesn't have any EA games, so that probably would not work out.
Yeah,
So
they don't really, do they?
probably Sony. Probably Sony. But
Yeah.
Sony's, they're trying to save money, obviously. So I don't think that's going to happen. They're still recuperating from buying Bungie.
Well,
I
it's just also if you look at Sony's the are Sony. I mean, Sony. Yes, they could do it, but like they would have to sort of um, it would be like an offsetting of stock price or something. There'd be like a weird way of doing
yeah,
it. Do you know what I mean? They wouldn't be. They don't have $70 billion to throw and buy
they
it
don't.
outright like that with cash. Just Microsoft, like multi-trillion
Yeah.
dollar company. Don't get me wrong, Sony could do it, but it would be logistically more difficult for
They'd
Sony
have
to
to
do
have
it than someone like.
microtransactions to the PlayStation 5. Buy a
To be fair
controller,
though,
80
to be
bucks.
fair, I would rather see either Sony or Microsoft or Nintendo get them than something like Amazon or Disney, which is a bit of an unknown. Because at least with
Yeah,
Sony, with Nintendo, with Microsoft, we know what we're getting with the gaming. Like, and all of them now kind of know how to deliver a decent game. To be fair, like, let's not be about like, I mean, well, Microsoft nearly deliver. They're not,
yeah. We'll just have to.
their first party's not quite there yet, but it's getting like I think it will be like really soon. And yeah, I think I think I'm actually a little bit squeaky bum time about EA or something like someone that big
I'm
going to
sorry.
someone
I'm sorry.
other. Squeaky
Squeaky
bum time.
bum time.
Squeaky bum time. It's like, yeah, I mean, I don't need to say it like out
Get him
loud.
right in the
You use
rectum
your
in the bum.
imagination. Squeaky bum time when you're nervous about something. And you
That's
just
the
go.
name of
We
this
use it.
episode.
We
Squeaky
use
bum
it.
time. We
Squeaky
just came
bum
up with it.
time. We use it
Gamescom.
normally when we're
Squeaky
watching.
bum
Like me
time.
and my friends use it when we're watching sports, and our team is like on the ropes or something. We're like, oh, it was squeaky bum time that last 5 minutes.
If you say squeaky bum time down here, be like, why would you do that to the homeless? They'd be, no, that bum, the other bum. What the?
Oh,
No,
the
my
homeless bum.
bum. You have a
Yeah.
bum? I don't know, but it's just another language and gets a lot of fun. But I mean, let's see what happens. Maybe the next week we'll see where EA goes. But I personally want to see Disney get them. I mean, I know, call me a sell upper like on She-Hulk. I'm sorry, I really enjoy it. I don't care. So there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's about it for our show. We
I
covered a
think that is
lot.
about it. Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, we covered a
We covered
lot
a
in
lot.
an hour. I think what we're going. How long have we been going for? About an hour.
Like an
An hour.
hour, like about an hour, something like that. Yeah, it was a good show. It breezily went by, and I don't have to worry about that squeaky bum time. Tell you what.
Yeah. We just do that over here. Oh man, like
But
it's not. It hasn't even been. I've digressed back into sports here, but it hasn't even been squeaky bum time. It's just been disappointment, hanging head and shame time for my team last weekend.
it's poor bum time. It's poor bum time.
Poor bum time.
But if you guys want to check out more stuff with Gamerhub, we have gamerhub.co.uk. I just put up a preview for a game called Wanted Dead. It's a game coming from the teams that worked on Dead or Alive and Ninja Gaiden. It looks like a bonkers action game involving like a crew of like soldiers that go up against all sorts of mercenaries and enemies and all that. And it looks wild. So be sure to check that out. And there's also some other content on there. And you're working on something too, ain't you, Mopey?
Yeah.
Mopish. Sorry, I know you don't like being called Mopey.
No. I've started using the alias Mopes recently.
Mopes.
Mopes, yeah. Anyway, yeah, I've got something coming up. I'm basically talking about this this price hike and for the Sony PlayStation and just sort of kind of calling it out a little bit and just saying that like look, just because you're the market leader doesn't mean you shouldn't be basically doing this. Like none of the others are doing it. Like Sony and Nintendo aren't doing it. Come on, a little bit. Like but it's more also so it's saying that, but also saying I think that this holiday season we're gonna really see well, Nintendo have been like doing better, winning all the NPDs and everything recently, anyway. Really, but yeah, I think we're going to see comfortably, especially in like around the world except the United States. I think we're gonna see Xbox and Nintendo consoles sell. Well, Xbox especially compared to Sony fail better than it would have done. Um, it had Sony not done this. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
basically
we'll just have to see what happens.
yeah, we'll have to see what happens. But yeah, I would bet a pretty penny um, that
We'll see
that
what
is the
happens.
case.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, yeah, I mean, aside from that, obviously we've got a couple more things coming up. Gladrius, hopefully you and me next week can maybe start like a retro podcast. I've also got a show I'm doing at the moment with Night Ride FM called Rescore. We talk sort of indie games and music within games. Like they're a synthwave channel. You should go and check them out. It's nr.fm on the web. Check them out. Really decent, really great group of people over there. Great community online at Discord
And
as well.
let's give a shout out to our friends at Gamerholics as well.
Yeah, shout out to the Gamerholics. They've had a podcast that's recently gone live as well, the new Game Time podcast. Shout out to and it's sort of produced and hosted by Breeze. Shout out to her as well. Shout out to all the Gamer Hub people actually, and all of our colleagues and stuff. And yeah, hopefully we'll have another Gamer Hub podcast for you next week. We'll talk about everyone's favorite stuff from Gamescom and stuff like that. Right now, you've kind of just had sort of the news summary from me and Gladrius and things that we've picked out. But yeah, it'd be great to get the others on too.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Next week we do have the Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection coming out, so hopefully we can talk about that a little bit. We'll see what we can do here, guys. It'll be squeaky bum time all over again.
Yeah, well, be squeaky.
What was the other thing you said about rectum? What did you say about the rectum? I forgot what the rectum one was.
Oh, it was like
you and butts. I don't know.
Yeah, bending you over.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't get Roger in the bum. That'd be
Roger
bad.
in the bottom. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I actually think that line is I think I got that line as a quote from Blackadder or something. It's like
There you go.
anyway, yeah. We'll move past that. Um, right. Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah. So
moving past the
that's
bums
the
to the
end of
bad
that's
stuff.
the end of that's the end of our show, guys. Like thanks for joining us. If you haven't already and you liked the content, like and subscribe to our channel. I've always forgotten to do that so far, so this is the first time. Glad you just remind me in future. Um, yeah, that'd be much appreciated. It would really help. Follow us on our socials on Twitter, Gamerhub at Gamerhub Co, or on Facebook or Gamerhub, um, and wherever really. Join our Discord, join the conversation, say hi to
Yeah.
all of us, like Gladrius or Mopish Lawyer as I go by. And yeah, thanks for joining us. Do you have anything you want to say? You're out.
Yeah. Make sure to take care of your bum so you don't have squeaky bum. I don't know what it is. It's stuck in my head. Seriously, I'm going to change my username to Squeaky
I'm gonna
Bum
bring to
Time
you, or
just because.
I'm gonna bring to you all the um, funny British expressions that we have, which is just
Oh my God.
gonna blow your mind. Um,
Yeah, we're gonna have fun with that in future episodes.
yeah. Anyway, okay, everyone.
Take care of your
Thanks.
bum, everybody. We'll
Yeah,
see you
yeah.
next time. Have a
Peace
good
out, everyone.
weekend.
Bye.
Squeaky Bum Time.